Hey, how are you? Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the upstate New York region of the Finger Lakes. Tonight, I'm going to bring you a card class, and I said fun folds, but truth be told, there's only one fun fold. It's a little bit more intricate, but I found an easier way to do it, at least easier for the way my brain works. I know not everybody's brains work the same, and I mean that very seriously. We all have different ways of working things out, but I think I made it so that it's easier, and then I can finally show you the catalog, and I know my customers have probably already gotten theirs. If you are a customer of mine who's made a purchase within the last 6 months to a year, I would have sent you a catalog, and you should have that soon, but maybe not yet. I was told to tell people if the catalogs had not arrived at their house by May 13th, they should let me know and I can look into it. So they get sent out sort of like in waves, so not everybody gets them all at once. So, don't get too frustrated, hang on. But today I can actually show you the catalog, and it's worth reviewing a little bit just because it's very different from any catalog we've ever had before. I find personally that it's mostly positive, and I'll explain that to you when I show it to you, but let's get down to business with the card first, okay? So hang on, I just need to get something off my lap. I've always got something on my lap when I'm doing these videos. Hang on, and I'll turn the camera down, and we will get going. Okay, looks pretty good. All right, so this is my public Facebook group called 11 Lakes Stamper Creatives. In case it's a little confusing, it used to be called Roberta's Creative Stampers, but it seemed like a good idea to have all of my stuff branded with the name of my business, which is 11 Lakes Stamper. So my email address is 11lakestamper@gmail.com. The group has the name 11 Lakes Stamper, and it just seems that in the long run, it'll be easier for people to find me that way. So that's what I'm sticking with. I did post my monthly daily creative prompts calendar, and then I realized that even though the host code is the one for May, I wrote April there, so I took it down and I just have to change that and repost it. Take a look at this daily. It's not something that you have to follow daily or stick to the dates per se, but it gives you some suggestions or ideas for things that you might want to give a try for crafting. Okay, and so this one's a little bit bigger. The host code is right here, and if you're going to make a purchase in the month of May, use this host code. And if you are making a purchase or your purchase turns out to be more than $150 before tax and shipping, then do not use the host code because we want you to get the rewards for yourself. So the way this works is that with a $150 purchase, oops, hang on, I just realized I wanted to switch that a little bit. No, I made it go the wrong way. With a $150 purchase or more, you get host rewards. And that is like cash in the bank, basically. It's money that you can spend right there as you're placing your order. So if all of a sudden you say, gee, I wish I had enough, to buy that ribbon or those embellishments, but you try to only spend your money on stamps or whatnot, then you can go ahead and get those ribbons or those embellishments up to whatever amount you have. Stampin' Up! Is really good on the online ordering system. They will show you have $15 in rewards. Now you spend this much. Now you have $12 left. Now you have $7 left. So they let you know how much money you've got left. You can go over a tiny bit. So let's say it goes over, by $1 or by 50 cents or whatever, then you just pay that extra dollar. But the rest of it is free. So the reason I ask you to use the host code is that if your order does not exceed $150, then those rewards go to me. And it only works if I get $150 worth of orders in a given month. If I don't get $150 worth of orders in a given month, it doesn't matter, it all just goes away. But if I should get $150 in orders from multiple people during a given month, then I get those rewards, and I can use those rewards to help replenish my supplies. At one time, I used them to buy things that I gave away as prizes. And I would like to do that again, but I'm going to be very frank about that, and that is that I had people who, as soon as I took a break from giving away prizes, they never watched one of my videos again, and they never bought anything from me again. And so that's, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose, I guess, because I'd like to reward the people who really are my regular customers and my regular viewers. So that's the whole deal behind that. And that's why I've started doing my rewards in a different way, and thanking people for making purchases by sending them card kits, or by occasionally dropping little hints about things that they could do to win a prize. And some people are catching on to that, and some people are not. But it lets me know that you've really looked at things and you've really watched my videos if you catch on to that. All right, I know I'm being a little mysterious. So tonight's card, and I'm not even sure what it's called, but I love it. And you might say, gee, she's been making a lot of blue cards lately, and you're right, I have. I love the color blue. It's funny because my daughter asked me recently what was my favorite color, and it was a very hard question to answer because I have what colors I like to wear, what colors I like to decorate with, what colors I like to craft with. It's not one pat answer, if that makes any sense. But I love creating with blue because I'm always happy at the end. But I do like other colors as well. But this paper is the Countryside In paper, which coordinated with the Countryside In Suite or Countryside Suite. And the stamp set retired, the dies are staying, and those are the ones that are a bunch of kind of elongated hexagons, I think they are. And this paper has carried over, which doesn't happen too often. And I'm very happy about that because I liked it a lot, not just because it was blue, but because it's a pretty paper. And so I've heard this called a drapery fold card, but yet I've made another card called that, and this isn't it. So if anybody knows the official name for this card, please let me know. It's a tiny bit bulky, which is why even though I did pop these up, the sentiment up on dimensionals, I chose not to add any embellishments to it. If I knew for a fact that I was going to be handing this card to somebody, let's say at a birthday party, in person, whatever, then I would embellish it for sure, but I decided not to because if it's going in the mail, that might kind of push it over the edge. And so I used Misty Moonlight for a card base. I used that DSP. I used Boho Blue stamped off once for this foliage in the center. And then the Thinking of You Fondly came from the Thoughtful Wishes stamp set. And I'll be showing you more about that in just a minute because that's what I'm using for the next card. So it's very pretty, and like I said, I don't remember what it's called. It's something that I might have done in the past. Well, no, I take it back. I know I did it in the past, but I don't think I did it for a video. And I don't think I did it for a video because it was just kind of complicated. And I just didn't think it would be a good idea. So I think I have found a way to simplify it. This one went very well. Of course it did, right? Because it's my sample, and I did it when no one was looking. So we will see what happens if the next one goes quite so easily. All right, so for this one, I am using the new Thoughtful Wishes suite. I don't believe I got the entire suite because I think some of the things were already sold out. But this is the Thoughtful Journey DSP, and it's just gorgeous. And I don't remember if I showed that to you recently or not. This is the Thoughtful Wishes stamp set, and then it has dies. And by the way, my die cutting plates are still missing in action. My neighbor from Florida says that they cannot be found in my apartment. I'm not finding them here, and I'm thinking that they're just in some really bizarre place, either here or in Florida. And I will have to break down and get new plates if I can't find new ones, or find those. But it's not just the plates. It's not just the cutting plates. It's the whole thing, the base plate and the other plates. And that gets a little pricey because those are not intended to be consumables. So I don't know. But anyway, so I am using one of the new in colors. And I have cut this. This is the Petunia Pop. And I have cut this at 8 inches by 4 3/4. All right, hang on. I've got a glare on my screen that I don't think is affecting your life any, but it's making me crazy. Okay, so 8 by 4 3/4, and then I scored it. No, wait, I lied. This one is regular card size, card base size. This is just 5 1/2 by 8. And then when it's folded in half, sorry, I got ahead of myself. When it's folded in half, then it is 4¼ by 5½. So that's the base, and that's Petunia Pop. Then I took a piece of basic white, and I cut that to be 8 by 4¾ and I scored it at 2, 4, and 6. So that leaves me with 4 2-inch sections. Okay, now here's where it gets possibly a little bit trickier, but still not terrible. I didn't mark that one. Oh yes, I did. All right, so let me show you what I did. So after scoring it at 2, 4, and 6, I put it on my trimmer, and I wanted, now you could use a ruler for this, or you could use the trimmer for this. It really doesn't matter. But what I want is I want to measure 2 inches up from the bottom right-hand corner. So I could certainly do that right here on my trimmer, and then I made a little pencil mark that you may or may not be able to see. And come down a little bit. There we go. I think you can see it now. I hope it's not as dark for you as it is for me. And now what I'm doing is I've got that little pencil mark there, and I can certainly erase that. I want to get this corner in the groove here, in the little, well, I don't know, I never know what to call this thing, the channel. You call it the channel, I guess, in the channel. So I kind of want to position that there, but now I'm going to wiggle around a little bit because I want this 2-inch mark here to be right also in the channel, and then I'm going to fidget around with this to make sure that this is now in the channel, the point, and I'm going to cut from the bottom up, because if you try to cut into a point like that, there's a good chance that your cutting blade might crush it. All right, and I can see my mark right through there, so I know that's okay, and I'm just going to cut up. So I'm cutting off this little triangle here, which I'm not going to use, but I will save for scraps. All right, and then this is just going to get cut sort of, it's going to get cut accordion style. So the big piece on top is going to get folded in this way because that's going to go up against the card. And then it's going to go back and then forward so that it opens like this. So before I do any burnishing to get that down, I want to make sure that all of my pieces are lined up. So I want all my edges lined up. So I'm going to line that up. And that's why I didn't press down too hard. All right, and then I'm going to fold this one back, and I also want that to be lined up. Just want it to be as even as possible, and then I'm going to fold that one back, and again, I want it to be lined up as good as I can get it. And at the moment it's not, so there we go. And then I'm going to burnish that down. Okay, so that's done. So then I started to think, though, how did I, because my notes were not great, and I don't know where I got this from. I couldn't find any notes that said how to measure these, and I thought, okay, wait a minute. This is what my brain said. My brain said we now know that each one of these sections is 2 inches, 2 inches wide, and we know that we want that to be smaller. So I just cut it down by 1/4 inch. However, when I did this card, I used a piece of 12 by 12 paper, and remember I told you that this was 8 inches across before the white part was 8 inches across. But I wanted to use this new designer series paper, which is a 6 by 6 pad. So what I did was I took 2 pieces of the 6 by 6 paper, and I cut a piece that was 4 inches by 4 3/4, and one that was 2 inches by 4 3/4, and that gives me the 6. So because this is a 2-inch panel, it will fit here. Okay, now my idea behind this is that I wanted to have this one look like a scene, not just a design. But when you've got 6 by 6 paper, that's a little harder to do. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put a piece of tape right here just to hold that together. Now this really doesn't need scoring at this point, but what I am going to do is I'm going to get my trimmer out again, and I'm going to pretend that this is one whole 8-inch piece of paper, and I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to score at 2 and 4 And then what would be 6 is this piece that I cut off. So I really don't need to score that because it's cut off. Then what I did, was I kept my trimmer out. I did not put my trimmer away. And I went to the first piece and I looked at that score line and I said, okay, well, it's scored at 2, but I'm going to make it 1 7/8 because I want it to be a little narrower. And then I picked this up and I looked over here and I was like, oh, look at that. It actually works. Okay. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the second part of that. So learn by my mistakes. It's my best quality, letting my students learn by my mistakes. So I'm going to tape that back on like we never did this, just yet anyway. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this white paper. I was wondering why I had a flat top, now I know. So same deal. I want 2 inches up from this bottom right corner. So I'm going to get a pencil and I'm going to measure 2 inches. I also thought after the fact that I could have cut both pieces at the same time by just lining them up next to each other. That mark's a little hard to see, but I can see it even if you can't. And then I'm going to go to the top left corner, and just like I did the white piece, I'm going to put the top left corner in that track. Then I'm going to fidget around till I find that 2-inch mark that I just made, that I already can't find. Did I make it on the wrong side? Okay, well, you know what? No, I really need to find it. I said it would be hard. Oh, I see it now. Okay, it's like an indent. I'm going to take that a step further, and I'm going to take a marker. This is an orange Sharpie. That might not be the best choice, but okay. There we go. Now I can see it. So I wouldn't normally do that because a tiny bit of that might show up on the card. But if I don't do that, I'm never going to find that line. And I'm probably going to cut most of it off anyway. So I've got the point in the track or the channel, and I've got the 2-inch mark in the channel, and now I'm going to cut it off. And so I've got a couple of little snippy pieces because of the way I cut it up. Now we can go back, and I'm just going to very gently pull that tape off because that's exactly where I wanted it to be. Okay, so that one is there, and that's going to be fine, and all I'm going to have to do now is take another, like, 1/8 of an inch, I'm thinking. We'll start with an 1/8, and if that's not enough, we'll go some more. And we're going to trim that off. I'm trimming it off the bottom because this is the angle I want there, just the way it is. So that is going to be just perfect. Okay, just perfect. So now I'm going to take the next section. Now, I'm turning it around because I cut on the other side of the score mark. So I want to just very gently, very slightly get rid of that score mark so that I don't have that bump there. And then I'm going to flip that around and go to this score mark. Actually, I'm going to do it upside down though so I can see it better. And I'm going to make this 1 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so each one is going to be 1 7/8 of an inch. And then off of the flat side, I'm going to take off another roughly 1/8 of an inch. And that should work out just perfectly there as well. And so the seam will continue. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, only this one, remember, I taped it. So I am ripping the back of this a little bit with the tape, but that doesn't matter because that's not the side I care about. I'm going to set that one over there because I'm working on one at a time. Okay, and then I want this to be 1 7/8 as well. Alright, and that looks perfect, I think, so far. So you're going to have to tell me if this makes sense to you. It seemed like a better way than to try to measure everything. So it's just, I created the same thing and I'm just trimming everything down to make it 1/8 of an inch smaller. And I think that that's working. So again, 2 7/8 because we know these panels or these sections are exactly, not 2 7/8, 1 7/8 because we know they're 2 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to going to trim 1/8 of an inch off the bottom there. I think I almost trimmed 1/4 of an inch off of one of them, so one of them might appear a little short. We'll see. Because you can count on the fact that the one I'm doing on camera will be the one that I make a mistake with. So even though this isn't a complete continuation of the pattern, like with the actual pieces matching up, I think it sort of works. At least it looks like the same pattern. And so that was how I was able to do this with a 6x6 piece of paper when I needed 8 inches. Oh, I got these stainless steel pins, but they're hard to see. But they're good because they don't rust in the glue bottle. And I definitely do not want rust in my glue bottle. Everybody's mowing their lawns. I don't know if you can hear. I mean, with all this rain, my guy hasn't come back to mow my lawn yet this week, and it's looking pretty wild out there. But all the neighbors that are getting out there, just because it's finally stopped raining, at least for one day, they're all out there mowing their lawn. It's like I can just hear them all around the neighborhood. Okay, that looks good too. Oh, this is working out very nicely. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. And so I'm hoping that watching me do this, you're seeing, even though I made a couple of oopses already, that this really is not so hard. And if I knew that I was going to make more than one of these, I would do all of the cutting and, you know, kind of stack everything up in piles and just do it sort of like a assembly line kind of thing. Okay, now that one's a little bit, a tiny bit off maybe, but I'm okay with it. It could have been just a tiny bit shorter, but since I put the glue on it, I really can't do anything about it. So we've got that part of our card done, okay? Then I wanted a more muted background than what was on the other side of this DSP. So I went into the same pack of DSP, and on the back of most of them, there's just kind of this really pretty watercolory thing. So what I found when I made the other one was that this side of the card worked really well if it was 3 3/4 by 5. And that's because that's pretty much, if I leave this, I can match this up on the bottom, and then this would come all the way across to the other side, and if this liner piece is 3 3/4 by 5, it seems to work just perfectly. So I cut it to 3 3/4 by 5. So I did have to use 3 pieces of this 6x6 DSP to make this one card, but I have enough scraps in reasonable sizes that I could do something else with it as well. Some type of a card sketch that doesn't require, you know, like large pieces. So I just wanted this to be there as something kind of pretty in the background instead of just having the purple or the petunia pot paper there. And I think it blends very nicely because really we're covering up most of it. So you'll see some of the petunia pot, but it just looks like a continuation of the sky, and that's why I liked it. And then I chose 2 sentiments, and it's interesting because they're from 2 different, are these from 2 different sets? No, these are from the same set that I just talked about. So these are both from the Thoughtful Wishes. With the other card, I took the outside sentiment, the hello, was from the Garden Meadow set, and then the inside says, thinking of you fondly. I thought those two went pretty well together. So this one is going to say, dearest friend on the outside, and then I appreciate you on the inside. And I'm going to use the Petunia Pop for the sentiment. I'm really liking this color a lot. I'm glad we have it. I miss Polished Pink a lot. It was probably my favorite pink ever that Stampin' Up! Has come up with. So I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to see it. But I also want to fill in some space, so I'm going to put it about 1 inch down from the top. I appreciate you. I always slant one way or the other. And then I'm going to take this little floral piece, but I'm not going to use the flowers. I'm not going to color the flowers. And I'm going to take some of the Pretty in Pink and just stamp that kind of over it like I did with the other one, just to give it some interest and to take up a little bit more space there, because I didn't want it to be too plain looking. And now I can glue that in. So I asked Google what time the sunset was tonight, and I think she said like 8:12 p.m. or something. So, you know, summer's coming. When the sun doesn't go down till like 8 o'clock at night, summer is coming. And we certainly did have plenty of those April showers. So we'll see if April showers really do bring May flowers. My daffodils are up, and I thought some of, because we had a frost here. I don't know about where you are, but we had a hard frost here. I thought that was going to be the end of my daffodils, but they survived it. Although my daffodils have been moved. I've got moles, I know I do, and they move things. So my daffodils are now clumped up into two different places, whereas they used to go across the whole front of the front garden. So this one I'm going to butt up against the DSP, not against the card base itself, both top and, or bottom and side rather. So I'm going to line that up perfectly, and then I'm going to make sure that I've got that burnished down really well. When I do the other side, I'm not going to burnish it down so well, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to put the glue on that back side, because we know that's what has to stick to over here. Because this card has some moving pieces, I'm going to make sure that I go a little bit heavier with the glue than I normally do, but still not going crazy. Now what I'm going to do is fold the card over and press very gently, because I want to open it up and make sure it's really properly lined up, and if it's not, I'll still have the wiggle room to adjust it. Then I can close it again, and I can rub it, and I can burnish it down. And that's all there was to it. Now I wish I'd timed myself, but that did not take long at all. What time is it? Yeah, maybe 15 minutes, if that. Maybe 15 minutes. All right, and there's our card, and it's just as pretty as can be. And oh my goodness, it doesn't have a front. So here's what we're going to do for the front. So I need another piece on the front. I already told you what sentiment I'm using. I'm using Dearest Friend, and I just need a white card front, and I've got those right here. And for this, I'm going to use 4 by 5 1/4. That's a typical card front size, but sometimes we make it bigger, and sometimes we make it larger. All right, so what I need to do here, I think I found, oh, that one's not long enough, though, is it? All right, so I'm going to get a white scrap, and I'm going to stamp in the Petunia Pop, Dearest Friend. I know which punch I'm going to use, so I'm putting it where I think that will work the best. So I use the Petunia Pop for the sentiment, and then again I'm going to get that floral stamp out, and I'm going to get the Pretty in Pink, and I'm going to stamp over that. And then, oh, what did I do with the punch? This is where I start doing this with my hands. It's what I do when I misplace something. I start doing this, and I don't know, I think it's like a magnet. It's going to jump out at me. I might have put it away. Well, what do you know? I put it away. Okay, so this is the decorative oval punch? Something oval punch. No, it's not decorative. It's the oval punch. Modern oval punch, that's it. And I'm just going to line that up and punch it out. I'm liking this punch a lot. It's good for slightly longer sentiments, not for real long ones, but for slightly longer ones. And hang on, I'm still missing something. I need a piece of the DSP. And I thought I had one out here, but maybe I didn't. And if I didn't cut one, then it may be true that I need more than 3 sheets, but I'd really not want to do that. Let me just see. I was looking for something earlier and I might have buried it under something. Yes, I did. Hang on. So let's try something a little bit different. These are all the scraps of DSP from this card. So let's see. Well, that'll just work out just fine anyway. Okay, I'm just going to make it a little bit, maybe 3 3/4 by 5. So that'll work out. So then it's true that I really only used 3 pieces of DSP, I think. 3 3/4. And then let's just see if this is really 5, because if it's not, no, it's not quite. So let's make this 3 1/2. Or maybe a little bit more than that. No, 3 1/2 should be okay. And sometimes I'm guessing, you know, I'm not doing any super fantastic measuring here. Okay, so there we go. And I'm questioning, okay, nope, that's good. I was going to say I wasn't sure if I needed the white or not, but I think I want the white. It might also look pretty with black, or maybe even with one of the blue colors that is in this DSP. That might look pretty as well. So I always tell people, you do you. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that would look much better with a blue or black, then by all means, you do that. Okay, I was thinking if I didn't have a big piece that I could just do something kind of like this maybe and have the sentiment go like that. But that's, for me, that's just a little too much white, so. Ooh, they're very similar, aren't they? I think I like that one with the tree. It's kind of a nice focal point. I did not get the in-color ribbon yet. Maybe that's why I didn't get the suite. Maybe that ribbon was sold out. I can't really remember why I didn't get it. But I don't have it yet, so otherwise this would be nice with some ribbon behind it. And they do have a ribbon to match the petunia pop and all of the new in colors. All right, I want to be able to see at least that tree and some of that, so I'm going to put this way down at the bottom, definitely. But I am going to use some dimensionals. When I have card, I like it better on the bottom. Say when I have something like this that's just so pretty, DSP, I hate to cover any of it up. But sometimes you really just don't have a choice. All right, so we'll put that down right there. Whoop. Sticky stuff. And then we've got that inside, and how pretty is that? Really, just how pretty is that? And then, let me see, get an envelope so that we're not doing our naked envelopes. Now, oh, wait a minute. Do I have a piece of DSP? Oh, I do. So usually when I do this, I do 2 1/4 by 5 or 6, by 6, I think, 2 1/4 by 6. Well, that would look silly, but that side looks nice. So if you want to use DSP on the envelope, what you do is you just take a piece, like I said, about 2 1/4 by 6, and you're going to put glue all around the edge of the flap. You want to get a little bit close to the edges because you don't want it to get picked up. If it goes through the sorting machine, you don't want a corner to get picked up and ripped while it's going through. And then you just go ahead and you put that on. And you just make sure that you're matching it up to the top. like that. Look at that. That's terrible. So we're just going to zhuzh that up a little bit. Okay, that's better. And then now this becomes a cutting guide, which is really nice. So we're just going to put the scissors right up against the edges of the envelope. And we're just going to cut. And if you accidentally cut a tiny sliver of the envelope, nobody's going to know or care. Okay, and then if you do see that any of the top of your, or any of your DSP is peeking up at the top, you can trim that so it doesn't get caught in the machine, but be really, really careful not to cut the top of your envelope open. That would be bad. And then I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just take some more of that Pretty in Pink. So yes, we have that, but I'm going to take it a step further. And let me get a scrap. And I'm going to do the Pretty in Pink along the bottom. I'm not cutting, or I'm not stamping the whole thing, rather. Just a little bit. And then we have a little border on the front. And then we have that on the back. And I honestly believe that when someone sees that in their mailbox, it makes them happy. First of all, they know for a fact it's not a bill, right? And what makes you happier than knowing that something in your mailbox is not a bill or stupid junk mail? I get more political junk mail. That stuff makes me crazy. Okay, so here are our two cards. Hang on, I got sticky stuff to get rid of here. Let's get that out of the way. I've got to clean that and clean that. We'll do that a little bit later. No ink on my fingers. Okay, nothing makes me madder than when I finished a card and I really like it and then I have ink on my fingers and I ruin it. So there is card number, well, that was card number 2, I guess. And then here was the original sample. And I probably could find a scrap of DSP to go on the other side of that one too. But how pretty are these? And they stand up really nicely as well so that you can display them. And, you know, they will look like this to people looking at them. They'd look nice on your mantle or on your coffee table or wherever you display your cards. Okay, so there they are. And I'm very happy with them and very happy that I made no major goofs. So just a reminder that this starts out with a piece of paper 8 by 4 3/4, scored at 2, 4, and 6, and then cutting on a diagonal from the upper left-hand corner of that, the white paper. Okay, remember the card base is normal. From the upper right-hand corner of the white piece to 2 inches above the bottom right-hand corner. Upper left-hand corner, I'm sure I said right before, upper left-hand corner down to 2 inches above the bottom right-hand corner. Okay? And I think that makes it easier. And I think it would make it even easier if you cut the DSP and the white paper simultaneously. And I think, you know, your trimmer should do that no problem. Okay, so now I have a community service bulletin, just for those of you who live nearby. If you don't live nearby, don't worry about it. My Kiwanis Club, the Kiwanis Club of Newark. First of all, we are seeking new members in Newark and Palmyra and surrounding areas. We're not looking for members in Lyons or Clyde anymore because we started a club in Lyons and that incorporates Clyde. So anybody who lives in Newark, Palmyra, Marion, you know, Macedon, the surrounding areas, we're looking for new members. And right now we are currently doing a gently new or gently used sneaker drive. And we're working with a zero-waste recycling company, and for each pair that we give them, depending on the condition that it's in, they will give us a little bit of money for each pair. That money will be donated to Camp Kiwanis, which is in Taberg, New York, and we send a student from Newark every year to Camp Kiwanis. And then there's also that afterwards those sneakers get donated to people in need. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. We will have pickup or drop-off boxes, rather, at Lyons National Bank here in Newark and at Community Bank North America here in Newark, both very close to the Newark Plaza. So if you have any sneakers that you've outgrown or that you're not using anymore, please drop them off at one of those 2 locations. I should have the drop boxes there by tomorrow. Okay, so now let's take a quick look. Nope, that's the old catalog. Hold, please. Let's take a look at this catalog. There's been lots and lots of talk about this catalog being different, about the cover being kind of dark, and about not understanding what all these people on the cover are about. So first off, I'll say what these people on the cover are all about is gathering, and that is something that Stampin' Up! Has always promoted. So, we started out as being like a party company, like Tupperware parties. You would go to a party at someone's house, you would work with a demonstrator to make a couple of things. The party would be completely free for you as the person going to the party. The party is completely free to the person holding the party, just like a Tupperware party is. And then if you choose to buy some product, fine. If not, you've had a nice night out with friends and you go home with a couple of cards or maybe a 3D project or something. So they're showing people gathering, and it looks like they're kind of, in someone's backyard. Obviously, someone said, well, they're in the middle of the woods. Well, no, there's a fence there. So they're in someone's backyard, and they're creating together, and they're having fun. And that's what Stampin' Up! Is supposed to be all about. Creating, sharing, doing what you love with friends and family members, and having a good time. So, beginning page, no big deal. Then they have a table of contents. They haven't always had a table of contents in the past, and that certainly is helpful. I have also made up, but somehow I printed off the old one instead of the new one. When my customers get my catalogs, if I drop it off to them at their house, I drop off a shopping list like this. This is the 2022-2023 catalog or shopping list. I don't know why. I have no idea why I printed that. But anyway, I have a new one, and it just lets you know where you can find things a little bit easily. And if I drop off a catalog to your house, I put one of these in the catalog. If you got your catalog through the mail from Stampin' Up! Directly but sent through me, then I'll have to give you one of those when I see you or mail you one of those, just because it's a really good guide to the catalog. So we've got that. Then they have what they call step-by-step crafting, and that's a totally new topic or category in the catalog for us. We've talked about our kits, and we've talked about Paper Pumpkin before, but those are never available in the catalog. The catalog just lets you know about them. So they call it step-by-step, all-inclusive themed projects with step-by-step instructions. And what's nice about this is that these are things that you can give as gifts. These are things that you, especially the Paper Pumpkin, you can have sent. You can have a subscription sent to someone. It's a great thing to send to a grown child or to a grandchild. And you can skip months. If you don't like what's coming up that month, you can skip that month and do that any way you like. It shows some of the projects here. Some of them are definitely geared towards children, so it's a fun thing to do with your grandchildren. But you only find these things online. You cannot purchase these through the catalog. Okay, Paper Pumpkin is kind of a surprise because you don't know exactly what you're getting, but there's usually some type of a hint, and if you know that it's going to be a 3D project and you're not into that, then you could skip that month. All right, then there are what they call quick and easy options. Now, this is something new to Stampin' Up! So Stampin' Up! Has always had the Memories and More cards, and that's what you see her here working on. But now we also have what we call ephemera packs. And ephemera packs are going to be packages that have pre-cut out. So like, let's say things like this that I have dyed with my dies and my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, they will send you something like this already cut out and ready to go. But it may also be like an actual, it'll be a picture of a flower, so it might look like a stamped image, but it's pre-printed, and you can use those to embellish your cards, so that if you're a person who just doesn't have room for or doesn't want to have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you can use these things instead. They're also wonderful for scrapbook layouts. So that's something else they're doing. I forgot to get my picture out to show you. So when we were on stage, they had a big poster of this. So they're telling you the top 10 things that are crafting essentials. So number 1 is your paper snips. You know how I feel about my paper snips. I love them. They're very sharp. They're wonderful. They do a great job. The Tombow Mono glue. I love that stuff as well. Dimensionals, you've seen me use those many times. Of course, ink, that's very important. Your solid blocks, your acrylic blocks are important. The stamp set, of course, is important. A punch or two. Punches are great, especially for beginners. Then, of course, we have blank canvases, so we're talking about cards and envelopes. So, yes, you can make your own card fronts, but you can also buy the basic white note cards and envelopes, which are slightly smaller, but they do go through the mail. Cardstock. And then this part we all disagreed with. The demonstrator was number 10. We thought we needed a higher ranking than that. But anyway, we all took turns kneeling down in front of this giant poster of this so that we covered her up and we became her. And I do have a picture of me in that spot, but I'll have to dig it out. Anyway, so these are the ephemera packs that I was referring to, and I hope you can see at least enough of them to get the idea. I can lift that up a little bit so that you can see it better, I hope. So these are pre-cut things that come on a sheet, kind of like stickers would, but I don't think they're stickers. They have to be glued. So some are floral, some are words, some are labels and layers, and they're just a lot of fun to work with. And then we have the cards and envelopes that are already decorated for you, so there's no DSP that's needed. So what you might need is to find a sentiment stamp set that really makes you happy. This one is called Simply Said, and it's got some birthday and some thanks and hello and just a note. It's got 2 different birthday ones, a celebration, a miss you, a thank you. So this is kind of a good overall stamp set to have. And then it just shows you lots of samples, which we haven't always shown in the past. We might show one with each stamp set. Lots and lots of samples of what you can do with those things. So these are the pieces from the ephemera pack. Nothing here is stamped at all, except perhaps the sentiment. But in some cases, even those are the cutouts, not stamped. And here's some more. So there's just lots of that, and that's like a whole new thing. Another new thing, and I am going to find a way to copy these and post them. You know that I've given you card sketches in the past. So what they're showing you now is basic card design. They're showing you how to lay out a card. And they're saying that this catalog is geared more towards beginners and casual crafters than the avid or intermediate or expert crafters. And those are the people that they want to focus on, because the people who are already really avid crafters or have been doing it for years, they don't need so much guidance. They know what to do when they get their paper in the mail and they get their things. The newer crafters sometimes open up that Stampin' Up! Box and look at everything and say, whoa, now I have all this stuff, but what do I do with it? So this is what they're leaning towards, showing people what to do. So they're showing sample cards using sample layouts like these. Some people call them layouts, some people call them designs. I tend to call them card sketches, but it kind of doesn't matter. And they're literally giving you samples and then showing you, you have this paper plus these markers made that card. And then there's a few more here that are basically either just sentiments or sentiments with some really cute little things that go along with them. So they've got a Thanksgiving one, so that might be where you use the pumpkin. And I'm guessing, yep, there's an Easter, okay? So there's a bunny. So this would kind of cover almost everything, just like the one that we have called Throughout the Year, which did carry over to the new catalog. And then they're showing more samples of how you're using these particular stamp sets to do some of these things, but again, how you use the ephemera pack. And again, more samples. This time they're showing you how these things can be used in a scrapbooking layout. So they're just giving you more to look at. And again, focusing on, I hate to say just focusing on the beginner, because I'm certainly not a beginning crafter by any means, and yet there are times when I sit and look at the stuff on my desk and say, okay, what am I going to do with this stuff today? And just like I've been telling you for years now, open up the catalog and case the cards. This is telling you a little bit more specifically how to do that. So same thing here. And this is using lots of things from the ephemera packs. And some of our DSP now is going to have pieces of ephemera that can either be cut out of that or will punch out. I'm not sure if some of these actually punch out. Then they're just kind of showing you our color coordination, which is one of the things that makes Stampin' Up! The best. It really does, is that you don't have to guess with colors at all. If you buy these ink pads, you can buy these markers, and you can buy that ribbon, and you can buy the re-inkers, and you can buy the dots that go with it, and you can buy these dots that go with it. And all of the colors match, and you could be colorblind and you could do this. You could make it work. You might need somebody to help you like label things so that you would know which color was which color, but you could do it. And then the one thing they've done that they've never done before is that they have put all of the suites in one place. They used to spread them out throughout the catalog. And they're showing the DSP larger because sometimes those little slivers that they would show you really didn't give you much of an idea of what it looked like. They're showing more card samples, and I love the way they're showing them. They're not necessarily showing everything full size, but they're showing the paper and the design on the paper full size. All right, so this is the Mediterranean Blooms suite. This one I just love. If you know anybody who loves to fly or just loves model airplanes or anything, Take to the Sky. This is a wonderful masculine collection. To the Market, okay, is just all about kind of like shopping. It's kind of fun whether it's shopping for flowers at a flower market or whether it's shopping for groceries or shopping at the farmer's market. It's just kind of fun. The paper is a lot of fun as well. Wildly Flowering, some beautiful paper here using the Moonlight, what the heck is that color? What is that color? Moody Mauve, that's it. It's like, no, it's Misty Moonlight and Moody Mauve. Oh my goodness. And actually, I think Misty Moonlight might be in here too. So these are just beautiful cards. That paper is just beautiful. Showing you the stamp set that comes with it, the die, and in this case, there's an embossing folder that comes with it. All right, this one, we had a paper like this a few years ago, and I just loved it. And I didn't care, like it has nothing necessarily to do with the stamp set. I wouldn't be without this paper because it's just so much fun. Great for birthday cards and kids cards and things like that. And here they've even got a little piece of home decor. Looks like it might be a 6x6 frame. But you're definitely getting to see so much more of the DSP and what it looks like. This one has some really muted colors, some pastels. They're really pretty. It has dies and it has dots. And again, they're showing you lots of samples there. And that's the Lily Pond Lane Suite Collection. This one I've already ordered and I have that. I got this, I think, I think I did get the whole thing on this one because there was no ribbon. So I was mistaken about that. There will be ribbon that would coordinate with it for sure, but there wasn't ribbon that was part of the suite. So getting this for $86.75, I got the stamp set, I got the specialty paper, I got the dies, I got the, what are they calling them? The adhesive back pearl trio, which comes in all of these, like the purplish color. They're almost like opalescent, so that when you look at them, depending on how you hold them, they look like different colors. So one way or another, these three colors cover all of the colors in this designer series paper. All right, now there's the Country Woods Suite Collection. Occasionally, one of our suites actually has two bundles in it. So a bundle is where you get a stamp set and dies, or a stamp set and a punch, and you save 10% if you buy it together. If you buy the whole suite, you're still saving the 10%, but you don't save any more by buying the suite. So the Country Woods Suite Collection has this bundle here, which is called Country Birdhouse, and it also has this bundle here, which is called Country Flowers. Now, I didn't think I wanted the Birdhouse stamp set, so I just got the Country Flowers Suite. I got the embossing folder and the ribbon and the designer series paper. I think I got, I don't know if I got this one or not, but I definitely got this one because I love the wood grain. Then I started seeing people making cards with the Birdhouse one. I probably have to have that too. But that's okay because I'll still save 10% when I buy it. Unbounded Beauty is really beautiful. It's got all the pinks and the greens. It's just really, really lovely. And it comes with the gems. And this is a specialty paper that is, what do you call it, glimmer paper. Okay, so here it is. So part of the suite, you get the glimmer paper, you get the adhesive back dots, you get the DSP, and this one also has two. So it's $141, but you do not have to get everything. So I tend to very often not buy the whole suite. I'll get the bundle and I'll get the paper. And that saves me some money. And I like saving money. I don't know about you. All right, so those are the suites. And then we move into the different stamp sets that we have. And these are labeled by bundle. So they've done a couple of interesting things here too. So this bundle, Layers of Beauty stamp set, it has the masks and the dies, but then you can get the stamps and the dies as a bundle. The masks are separate, I believe. Here's where I saw something that was really different and interesting that we haven't done in a long time. Actually, I'm not sure we've ever done it. We used to get choices if you wanted your stamps mounted on wood or mounted on something else, but now we don't have woodblock stamps anymore. So they're offering you this bundle labeled with love with the stamp set, or you can get the dies. If you get the dies, they'll give you 3 of them, which means that you can cut out 3 at a time. If you get the punch, you can cut out 1 at a time, but a lot of people really prefer the punches. Now I just want to make sure I'm telling you that right. Are you really getting 3 of those? They're showing 3, so I think you are, but I can't swear to it. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, you have your choice. If you get the punch, it's the same price, but punches are just easier. Typically, punches are cheaper, but in this case, they're not necessarily, but punches can be easier if you don't want to have the die-cut machine. Then they've got this one really cute name called Keeping Tabs, and you have a choice of getting a die to cut out the tabs or this. So they're fun for things like notebooks, but they can also decorate on the front of a card. When it punches out, it's connected right there at the top, so it folds over, and it does give you, if you keep a journal or a diary of any kind, or even in scrapbooks and you want these to tab your pages, it's great for that, but it can be used any other way as decoration, as you can see on the cards too. And there are stamps that match, and you can use those stamps to do whatever you want with. Okay, then we've got this one, Friendly Fins, which is about all kinds of fish. Might be really good for kid cards. Hearts and Hugs. I would give this to an adult or to a child, but really cute. But these are all bundles. This one is a die cut. They're called Pocket Thought dies. You get 3 of the dies, and they literally make pockets. So they would be great for, depending on the size. I think there's, the die sizes make pockets that are 3 3/4. Oh, the largest pocket is 3 3/4 by 5. So I think they would absolutely work for a gift card. And then like this card here has little tags that you pull out that say things on them. That might be cute too for either for gift cards if you wanted to give them more than one, or for like little messages or certificates for things like a night out for dinner or a night out for ice cream or whatever. This I'm very excited about. You saw me make rosettes at Christmas time, and you saw that I used these, the Simply Scored to do that, and I had to score each one separately, and it was a bit of a pain. Now they have a die. It's called the Round We Go dies, and one of them will make a rosette. So that, I mean, look at that. Those are so much fun. So much fun on a card. And they're also fun for decorating with. Okay, we've got the cutest onesie. Baby card for sure. Attention shoppers. Somebody's got a thing for shopping. Bistro Burger, Father's Day. Kind of good for Father's Day, or masculine cards, or anybody who likes cooking out or eating burgers for that matter. Tune In. It's a really cute little TV. Retro TV, and that's a bundle. Butterflies, because we always have to have some butterflies. They're so cool. Spotlight on Nature. I'm loving this one because while I certainly love the foliage and I love the butterfly and the sentiment and the little hashtaggy thing that I like, these dies are amazing. So again, they sort of have nothing to do with that necessarily, but they'll make great backgrounds for your cards. This one's like almost doily-like. Okay, this one I've got, and I saw some amazing cards made with this stamp set at OnStage. I probably would have thought this was not a stamp set that I needed until I saw this man making these amazing cards with this, and then I had to have it. This pairs up with the Grove dies that we have now, and it's called In the Grove Bundle, but it will also pair up with the In the Grove stamp set, I think it is, but it's kind of a takeoff on that. We've got to have an ocean one all the time. This one has starfish and sand dollars, which are 2 of my favorite. And it has a hybrid embossing folder, which I love, where you can emboss and cut at the same time. This one is called Inspiring Snapdragons. And so it's 2-step stamping, and you can see the cards. Very pretty. And then they have a section called Encore, and I won't spend too much time on this, but Encore means that these are the returning items. However, I was told, and I haven't checked it out yet, stamp set for stamp set, that not every single returning stamp set is here because some of them are online now. They retired from being in last year's catalog, but then they went on to online, which means that they might not last the entire year. If it's in the catalog, it's good for a year. But if it's online, it could go at any time. So I think that's the difference. So there's multiple pages. They're just showing them very small because you can look back in last year's catalog to see what they look like. And there's a bunch of them that have carried over, and then in addition, the ones that have carried over to online. Stamp and Shout. This is showing some of our two-step stamping. You've seen me make cards with the turtle stamp set, the sea turtle. I love that. And then here's one that has, what do you call them? Starfish. That's two-step stamping. And then it's just showing our blocks. We retired some of our blocks this year. I was a little sad. They retired the A block, which is the one I feel like I use a ton. But I was able to buy a bunch of them before they went away. That's this little tiny one here. I just use a lot of them because I have a lot of those little stamps. And then they retired the I block, which was the kind of bigger one. I don't think I have it out here right now, but the bigger one for sentiments or for floral images or whatever. I think they might be sorry about that, but we'll see. Like I said, they don't listen to me. Picture Perfect, it just shows some ways that you can use stamps in combination with sentiments and some of the different ways to use stamps to create backgrounds and things like that. Step It Out, again, more about two-step stamping. So again, this is for beginners or even for people who've been crafting a long time but haven't ventured into trying two-step stamping or reversible stamps or things like that. And so they're just giving us more samples here. Here they're highlighting our background stamps. Those are the big stamps that work on the F block. But I think I've showed you, you can put them down on a table and put the piece of paper on top of them. So I do have this Fragrant Forest, and that carried over from the holiday catalog. I have the Botanical Beauty. They have this one called Doggone Friendly, and that's great if you have friends who have dogs. I wish they'd make a cat one as well, not saying instead of the dogs, but in addition to. Because most of my friends, well, maybe not most, but many of my friends are cat people. And then they've got the Sketched Plaid, which I have not gotten yet, and the Graceful Deer, and then the Watercolor World, which just doesn't do it for me. Don't ask me why. Maybe for a travel journal it might. I'm just not sure how I feel about that. So then they've got some of the stamp sets that have kind of a watercolory image or things that you can do with watercolor backgrounds, and they're featuring So Sincere stamp set, which has lots of sentiments, lots of sentiments, and they're just showing you those. And then they move on to showing you the colors and also our storage items for the colors and some of our tools like the Take Your Pick tool, and yes, they're kind of hidden there, and the scissors and the bone folder and the colored pencils and the blending brushes and the blends, and of course you see the stamp sets. This is our fine tip glue pen. You can see ribbon here, so they're sort of showing an overall of things that we carry. And then here, it's literally called Show Appreciation, and it's just featuring some stamp sets that say thank you. And this one that says thank you, I think it really is almost that large. Maybe not quite, but no, it's not, because it's that one there. It's not that large, but it's pretty big, and that one's pretty big. So this is a whole stamp set all about thank you. This one is called My Small Business, and that would be something that if you were a business owner you would use. I certainly would use it as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. But you could stamp like Shop Local on your things or thanks for your order. If you're any type of a crafter, this would be a really nice thing to have. You could stamp Made with Love on a tag, handmade for you. Great for any crafter to have, not just a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And this one really might be that big. I'm going to have to check that out. It really might be, because you could stamp that on bags. Like I just ordered some white, just plain white flat gift bags. Here they are. I just ordered a bunch of these. I got 100 of them on Amazon. And I do like to stamp my bags with something. And I have stickers that say, thank you for shopping my small business. But this would be kind of cool, too. I might have to get that. I think I missed that one. And now, again, they're showing you the memories aspect of it. And I know that I've told you that Stampin' Up! Is acquiring some of Close to My Heart's and again, I can't say for sure because I don't know the whole story, but we're going to be carrying more scrapbooking stuff because that was what Close to My Heart specialized in. And so, and Stampin' Up! Used to, and whether we've acquired the rights to some of their products or I'm honestly not sure. We've always had our Memories and More cards. We had a 12 by 12 album. Now we have a 8 by 6 album, I think it is, which is great for gift giving, by the way. And so they're just showing all of these kinds of things, including some home decor items. Celebrate the year, so they're highlighting the stamp sets that are specific to certain holidays or seasons, which they didn't do before. Those could always just be found here, there, or anywhere. Here they're calling this the craft section, create really awesome fun things, and they're showing some stamps that might be geared towards children. Some more towards children. Oh, I love this with the boots and the sandals and the cleats. Very fun. And congrats, graduate, because we do have a graduation stamp set now. That is also in this new catalog. That's a great one, and graduation time is coming up, so that might be a good one to think about. All right, and then invitations. So they've got stamp sets that would be great for making invitations. Save the date, please join us, you're invited. This is very lacy, looks very pretty for a wedding, but you don't necessarily have to use that. And they're showing you some good samples as well. So if you're planning on any type of an event, if you were planning on a backyard barbecue, you could go back to that hamburger stamp set and get that, but still use You're Invited. And then they're also focusing on, which I've tried to talk about quite a bit, is things that you can make for home decor. So, here's a little something to put in your guest bathroom maybe, or hang on the wall, and it's got the soap, or maybe you're giving this to someone to use in their guest bathroom as a gift. And you've got the soap, and it looks like this might be for, essential oils. I use a lot of those, so I might appreciate that. And then they've got all of their metallic stuff in one section. So if you're a metallic person, then you've got it right there. And then they've got all the ribbon in one spot, and all of the embellishments in one spot. And then they call it sticky business, which I think is really cute. Everything's sticky. So the adhesive sheets, the foam adhesive sheets, the foam adhesive strips, and the dimensionals in both sizes, and the black dimensionals, and the different stamp and seal, and the fine tip glue pen, and the glue, and the mini glue dots, and the tear and tape. All the sticky stuff is right here in one place. Then they're focusing on watercolor techniques and telling you what kinds of things you really need to have to do watercolor. So if you're doing watercolor, you can't use our Memento black ink. You have to use the StazOn ink, because the StazOn is a waterproof ink. And they're showing the Stampin' Mister and the watercolor pencils and the water painters and all of that in one place. And then this one is called Get Moving. Okay, and it's just create cards that move. So it's showing you how to make, hey, these that I made tonight, these are cards that move. This isn't just a simple open and close card. It's a card that moves. So they're showing you how to do that. And there are some other techniques that this punch works really well for. And then Shake It Up. They're showing you, again, about shaker cards and different ways to make them. They're actually giving you little lessons within the catalog. So for anybody who wasn't sure about this catalog, if you really give it a chance, it's great. They're showing you how to use the brayer, how to use the blending brush with the masks, how to create backgrounds. It's full of ideas. Showing a little bit about masking, because we also have masking paper, and showing about texture, how you do texture by heat embossing, by using embossing folders, by using embossing paste, along with the masks. Excuse me, gotta get a drink. Too much talking. And then they've got all of the embossing folders in one location. And we've got some great ones. And then they talk about blending, whether you're doing so using the blending brushes or using the blends. And the Stampin' Write markers. They're showing you like a little color swatching thing, which isn't a bad thing to do if you have these markers, or if you have the Stampin' Write markers, to make yourself little swatches and label them. I do that with watercolors. And then here is the color theory, which has the color wheel that shows you which colors will coordinate with each other. And then explaining terms like monochromatic, complementary, analogous, that's, and triadic. And those are different colors on the color wheel, and it shows you how they work together. So for those of us, and I'm often included in that, who are just totally mystified by color, it's all answered for you here. And then again, the color coordination, the cardstock, the stamp pad, the refill, the blends, the Stampin' Right markers if we have them in those colors, everything that you need in showing you the colors in the different families. So the subtle family, the brights family, the regals family, the neutrals family, and then the in colors, and then what we call the basics. And then they've got a huge index. And the index has almost everything in it. And then in the back, they talk to you about the benefits of becoming a demonstrator. And even though I know I've been going on forever now, we are having a joining special right now, and I'll post that tonight or tomorrow. And I think it's $82 in product over what you normally get. So you normally get $125 worth of product for $99, but they are going to give you all of the ink pads for the new ink colors. They're going to give you the Stampin' Right markers for the new ink colors, the new in colors. They're going to give you a pack of the new in colors, but it's the combo pack. So it's got a few sheets of every color in it. And I think there's something else. What else would it be? Well, now I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up and I'll post it. But it's a very good special. You end up with $82 extra product above and beyond what you're paying for, and it only costs you $99. And as far as I know, they're still doing this. They have always sent a paper pumpkin kit along. It's usually an older one, a retired one, but they usually send a paper pumpkin kit along as well. So it's really a very good time to join. If you'd like to be on my team, I would love to have you. My other team members would love to have you. We are small, but we get together, we talk, and we share ideas, and we have a good time. All right, I will let you go for sure because I'm on overtime. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you 1 week from tonight. Thank you very much.